Hello, all you freedom-loving people. The U.S.-Russia talks achieve good results, and Hamas and Israel are getting closer to a permanent ceasefire, and even Mayor Adams may stay in office until the election. Okay, let's get into it. On Tuesday, U.S. and Russian teams held much-anticipated talks in Saudi Arabia. The meeting was quite productive. The Russia-Ukraine war was one of the topics, but not the only one. The two sides discussed the possibility of ending the Russia-Ukraine war and how to restore U.S.-Russian relations. The U.S. team consisted of Secretary of State Marco Rubio, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff. The Russian team consisted mainly of Sergei Lavrov, Russia's foreign minister, Yuri Ushakov, President Putin's foreign policy advisor, and Kirill Dmitriev, the head of Russia's sovereign wealth fund. Saudi's foreign minister and national security advisor also attended the meeting. Ahead of the talks, Kirill Dmitriev said that President Trump is a problem solver, and he recognized President Trump's ability to deal with international issues. Dmitriev played an important role in early U.S. relation contacts during President Trump's first term. The U.S. State Department said after the meeting that the talks were an important step forward. During the talks, the officials of the two countries agreed on the following: create a consultation mechanism to overcome irritants in U.S.-Russia relations, appoint high-level teams to begin work on a Russian settlement, cooperate on issues of common geopolitical interests, cooperate on economic opportunities that may arise after the end of the Ukraine conflict, and take steps necessary to normalize the work of diplomatic missions. Regarding the Russia-Ukraine war, Russia is hoping that the United States will listen to its position on this issue. U.S. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz says that President Trump can't accept endless war in Europe. The U.S. is consulting with U.S. allies on Ukraine, and no one is being left out. The EU has been concerned that the U.S. will not invite European allies to the talks, but Rubio also echoed Waltz's comments, saying that the EU needs to get involved at some point and no one is being left out. The talks were only a preliminary contact. The purpose of the meeting was to assess whether Russia is seriously considering ending the war. Rubio said that the meeting with Russian officials in Riyadh was the first step in a long and difficult journey. The goal is a fair and lasting end to the war in Ukraine. European leaders were surprised by President Trump's push for Russia-Ukraine talks, and they held an emergency summit in Paris on Monday to discuss unification strategies. European countries have decided to invest more in defense and to lead the way in providing security for Ukraine. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz expressed U.S. pleasure that Europe is discussing making a stronger contribution to Ukraine's security. President Trump said on Tuesday that he would not oppose the stationing of European peacekeepers in Ukraine. President Trump said in a press conference at Mar-a-Lago, "If they want to do that, that's great. I'm all for it. I would not object to it at all." President Trump mentioned that France and the United Kingdom have expressed a willingness to do so, and he implied that the U.S. would not participate in the peacekeeping forces because we're so far away. The two sides also discussed the resumption of diplomatic normalization. Lavrov said after the talks that the two sides agreed to appoint new ambassadors quickly. Senior diplomats of the two countries will soon discuss specific details of removing artificial barriers to the work of the U.S. and Russian embassies and other missions. The decimation of the U.S. and Russian embassy personnel began well before 2022. Since Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014, the Obama administration ordered the closure of several Russian offices in the United States. The issue of future economic cooperation between the two countries was also touched upon. Kirill Dmitriev told reporters that Russia and the U.S. should develop joint energy ventures. He said, "We need joint projects, including in the Arctic and other regions. Of course, the prerequisite for economic cooperation is a truce between Russia and Ukraine." Rubio said that it could open incredible opportunities to partner with the Russians on issues that hopefully will be good for the world and also improve our relations in the long term. Tuesday's conversation was not only a high-level diplomatic encounter, but also it paved the way for a summit between President Trump and President Putin. Yuri Ushakov, Putin's foreign policy advisor, said that no date has been set for a meeting between President Putin and President Trump, and that it's unlikely the meeting will take place next week. But President Trump said that he would probably meet with Putin before the end of the month. That's within 10 days. Ukrainian President Zelensky, who was not invited to the U.S.-Russia talks, expressed his dissatisfaction, but President Trump is not convinced by Zelensky's complaining. He said, "Today I heard, we weren't invited." Well, you've been there for 3 years. You should have ended it 3 years ago. You should have never started it. You could have made a deal. President Trump also said that the Ukrainian people should be heard and that Ukraine should hold elections. Zelensky was selected for a 5-year term in 2019, but he remains in office with Ukraine under martial law. President Trump asked, "They want a seat at the table, but shouldn't the people of Ukraine have a say? It's been a long time since they've had an election." President Trump also denied that his demand for an election in Ukraine was prompted by the Russians. He made it clear by saying, "Requests for Ukrainian elections are not a Russia thing. That's coming from me and many other countries also." Hamas has proposed exchanging all of the Israeli captives and Palestinian prisoners in one go for a permanent truce and a full Israeli pullout. Hamas said on Tuesday that it would return the remains of 4 Israeli hostages on Thursday. This included Kfir Bibis, who was 10 months old when he was kidnapped by the organization, and his 4-year-old brother Ariel Bibis. They were the youngest hostages. The Prime Minister's office also confirmed that it expects Hamas to hand over 4 other slain hostages to Israel next week. Khalil al-Hayya, Hamas's chief negotiator, added that the organization would also release 6 live hostages on Saturday instead of the 3 that were expected. An Egyptian source with knowledge of the situation confirmed to CNN that negotiations involving Egyptian, Qatar, Israeli, and U.S. officials have been successful and that Hamas will release the remaining hostages from the first phase of the ceasefire agreement on Saturday. Israel will begin indirect negotiations with Hamas this week on the second phase of the ceasefire agreement in Gaza, calling for the complete disarmament of the area. The second phase of the talks is expected to be difficult because it involves issues of post-war governance in Gaza, on which the two sides appear to remain sharply divided. Israel has stated that it will not accept the continued presence of Hamas or any other terrorist organization in Gaza. However, if the negotiations are constructive, Israel will remain engaged and they may extend the first phase of the ceasefire. The Israeli government wants to pressure Hamas to release more hostages and extend the first phase of the ceasefire. Israel's goal at this point is to get back as many hostages alive as possible due to the extremely weakened condition of the 3 hostages released earlier this month. A federal judge in New York summoned Justice Department prosecutors and Mayor Adams' attorneys to a hearing on Wednesday to discuss a motion to dismiss his case. Last Friday, acting Deputy Attorney General Emil Bove signed a motion to dismiss the corruption charges against Adams pending a final decision by the trial judge. Even though the government has broad discretion to prosecute, once a case is initiated, the judge's approval is needed to dismiss it. The outcome of the judge's decision could affect Adams' political future. The Justice Department's motion has caused a huge backlash from within the Democratic Party. Democrats have accused Adams of allegedly making a deal with the federal Justice Department to help the Trump administration implement immigration policies in exchange for the Justice Department dropping the criminal charges against him. They therefore demanded Adams to step down. More than 30 New York Democrats have called for Adams' resignation. On Monday, 4 of the mayor's top aides announced their resignation as a sign of separation from the mayor, but Mayor Adams vowed on Sunday to stay on as mayor. In an impassioned sermon, he told churchgoers that he has a mission to fulfill, a mission that God gave him years ago. Adams also expressed disappointment in the resignation of his 4 aides. He had spoken with the 4 aides on Sunday in an attempt to prevent them from leaving or at least delay their decision. However, some people think that the resignation of these officials may be a good opportunity for Adams. It gives him a chance to reorganize the city. Vacancies in the deputy mayor's position would allow Adams to choose someone loyal to him for that position. So it's not surprising that he's willing to go along with ICE's actions. This may not be in line with the mainstream Democratic Party in New York City, but Adams has always been a conservative member of the Democratic Party. And even though Assembly Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries did not call for the mayor to step down, he did say that Adams must be accountable to the community and convince New Yorkers that he has the best interest of the people at heart. And Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York, is under increasing pressure from fellow Democrats. They are calling on her to remove Adams from office. As governor, Kathy Hochul has the power to remove the mayor from office, and she is the only person who has the authority to do so. But she says that removing Adams as mayor is not something to be taken lightly. She said in a statement, "In the 235 years of New York State history, these powers have never been utilized to remove a duly elected mayor. Overturning the will of the voters is a serious step that should not be taken lightly." That said, the alleged conduct at City Hall that has been reported over the past 2 weeks is troubling and cannot be ignored. The word on Tuesday afternoon was that the governor would need to wait for the hearing on Wednesday before making the decision. After his meeting with the governor, Reverend Al Sharpton told reporters, "We're going to wait and see what the judge says tomorrow. We don't want to set a precedent. Supposing today we remove him because he's been indicted, and the judge says tomorrow I'm throwing out the indictment. It would be premature." New York's moderate Democrats and Republicans argue that with the mayoral election just a few months away, the governor should not make a hasty decision at this time. Ex-Governor David Paterson told the New York Post sarcastically, "Remove him because we're mad at you for helping Trump." Paterson also said, "I don't hear anything of a cause for him to leave office. There are 2 choices, remove him from office or let the voters decide. I prefer the latter, let the voters figure it out." City Councilman Robert Holden also said that voters should decide Adams' fate, not a politically connected witch hunt. State Democratic Party Chairman Jay Jacobs mentioned another issue, the complex and potentially lengthy process of removing an incumbent New York City mayor. He said, "There's a misconception that removal by the governor is a quick process. It requires due process and would likely take almost as long as it will to get to the election." But no decision was made today by Judge Dale E. Ho during the 90-minute hearing. Judge Ho compelled the acting number 2 official of the Justice Department to defend the rationale for abandoning the case against Mayor Adams. Then he asked for patience while he considers the issues carefully. President Trump and Elon Musk sat down with Fox News' Sean Hannity for a joint interview, and they gave some insight into their friendship. Sean Hannity described the two of them as being very close, like family. At one point he said, "I feel like I'm interviewing 2 brothers here." At the beginning of the interview, Hannity asked a tough question. He asked the president about Musk working for the president for free, when the president had previously sued Twitter to make Musk pay $10 million. The president said, "That's right, it's very low. I was trying to get more money than that." Then Hannity replied, "So you gave him a discount in the lawsuit." Of course, that happened before Musk acquired Twitter. Elon Musk said that he loves the president, and the president clearly enjoys Musk's love.
I think President Trump is a good man, and he's, you know,
It's nice the way he said that. You know, there's something nice about it.
Really is. You know, because I mean, the president's been so unfairly attacked in the media. It's really outrageous. And I've at this point spent a lot of time with the president, and not once have I seen him do something that was mean or cruel or wrong.
Elon Musk actually decided to support President Trump before the assassination attempt last July, but he didn't show it at the time.
and then culminating in 2 assassination attempts, which resulted in your endorsement.
Well, I was going to do it anyway, but that was
it.
Precipitating event. Yeah.
That speeded it up a little bit.
Yeah.
The day of the
I
assassination.
didn't know that.
Yeah. It sped it up, but I was going to do it anyway.
This was a secret that even President Trump didn't know. President Trump is highly appreciative of Musk and his team's execution. President Trump said, "You write a beautiful executive and you sign it and assume it's going to be done, but it's not." He also said that Musk works with 100 geniuses at DOGE to implement his agenda. President Trump joked by saying he's got some very brilliant young people working for him that dress much worse than him, actually. They dress in just t-shirts. You wouldn't know they have 180 IQ. But he gets it done. He's a leader. He gets it done. But President Trump also has secrets that Elon Musk doesn't know about. He said that he's tried to find someone to replace Musk. President Trump said, "I wanted to find somebody smarter than him. I searched all over. I just couldn't do it. So we had to, for the country, we settled on this guy." Then Musk said in a very low-key way, "I'm just trying to be useful here." The two are also expected to discuss a proposal to send U.S. taxpayers rebate checks that represent a portion of the money saved by DOGE. This came following a suggestion by James Fishback, the CEO of the investment firm Azoria. Fishback suggested on X that President Trump and Elon Musk should announce a DOGE dividend, a tax refund check sent to every taxpayer funded exclusively with a portion of the total savings delivered by DOGE. Fishback's proposal calls for 20% of the $2 trillion in savings, which is about $400 billion, to be returned to 79 million tax-paying households directly. Based on the proposal, that would amount to roughly $5,000 returned to each of those 79 million households. Musk responded to Fishback's proposal on X by saying he will check with the president. He also responded to another post on X and wrote, "Obviously, the president is the commander-in-chief, so this is entirely up to him." And that's a wrap for this episode. Thank you so much for your support of Front Page. Please remember that every like, comment, and share helps more people to see the truth. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And if you have already subscribed, we thank you. But please double check to make sure that you're still subscribed, because some of our audience have reported that they're somehow unsubscribed without their knowledge. We've also heard that many of you don't get notifications of our videos anymore on YouTube. So when you do subscribe on YouTube, please make sure to tap the notification bell as well. Okay, this is our show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what you heard today, please don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends and family, because everybody deserves to know the truth.